All right, so now we're going to talk about kingdom fungi. These organisms are heterotrophic, and the things that they're eating are actually dead organic matter from either a forest floor or off of, a rotting log, something like that. But the way we term that, we actually call it saprophytic. So the fact that it's eating dead organic matter and it's a decomposer makes it saprophytic. So these organisms can also be mutualistic, benefiting itself and then the host that it's on. They could be parasitic, so taking away nutrients from whatever it's on. And they can also be predatory against other fungi. So the way they store their food is in the form of glycogen. They do have chitin in their cell walls. On your fungi quiz, it's going to ask you whether these organisms are multicellular or unicellular. Primarily, these guys are multicellular, so that is the answer to your quiz question. However, there is an exception, which is yeast, and that is the the unicellular organism within kingdom fungi. So that's the only one. That's just the exception. So make sure you choose multicellular on your quiz so you get that one right. Now, for fungi morphology, we have two primary structures. We have a sporing body, which is above ground, and then we have our mycelium, which is underground. Both of these are made up of filaments called hyphae. And the sporing body above ground may have a different name. It could be called a basidiocarp or an ascocarp, depending on which phylum it belongs to. So first phylum that we're going to talk about is Ascomycota. These guys are terrestrial. Few of them are aquatic. Yeast are in this group. We have morels in this group as well. Truffles, ringworms, lots of lichen in this group. These guys are sexual as well as asexual, so they could be reproducing with a partner or they could reproduce on their own. The biggest thing in this group, so lichen is a mutualistic relationship between an ascomycete fungus and an algae. It could be a bacterium instead of an algae, just depends on the species. But the relationship, basically what's happening there is the fungus is providing a home for that photosynthetic organism, whether it be a bacterium or an algae cell. And then the fungus in return gets sugars, which are produced by that photosynthetic organism. So the fungus provides a home, and the photosynthetic organism, so either an algae or a bacterium, is going to provide nutrients. Okay. So our next phylum is Basidiomycota. So you would get basidiocarps in this group. Before we had ascocarps in Ascomycota. So Basidiomycota, these are terrestrial. We have things that are large like puffballs. We could have stinkhorns. Locally, we have the turkey tail mushroom. These guys are decomposers as well. Some parasites are in this group and lots of mutualists. So we have mycorrhizae, which are mutualistic organisms, and they have that mutualistic relationship with plants. So underground, these guys are actually helping plants get more nutrients from the soils. So they're making nutrients more available to those plants. These are sexual organisms, and like I mentioned before, their sporing body or above ground structure is called a basidiocarp. So as far as Basidiomycota reproduction, you're not responsible for knowing this cycle whatsoever, but you should know that they are sexual and asexual. They also do not really have male and female, rather like plus or minus strains. And if the hyphae are compatible, they're going to fuse together. Okay. So that's how they reproduce. So make sure to answer these questions and submit them. These will be due along with lab 3, even though it says lab 6. So this should be page 37, I believe, in your lab manual. So make sure you answer these questions.